Hey, yo, it's me, Pops Van Marmalade, and you're watching the Comics-Related Madness Network. Uh-huh. So come get some. CromCon.
Hey, we want to shout out to our sponsors, Daytona Beach Comic Con. If you are a fan of comic books, if you're a fan of comic book conventions, and if you like meeting comic book creators and getting comics and comic-related stuff, then you need to make your plans to attend Daytona Beach Comic Con. This year's show is September 9th and 10th. Silverline will be there, so you should make your plans to be there too. We'll see you there. If you like comics and find yourself in the Orlando, Florida area, doesn't everyone come to Orlando at some point in time to see the House of Mouse? But when you're here, you need to make it a point to visit Coliseum of Comics, especially the one on East Colonial Drive. They carry Silverline Comics, even a limited edition Coliseum of Comics version of our comics. So, when you go, be sure to ask for Silverline Comics and tell them we sent you. OCD stands for Orlando Collector Deviants. OCD, Steve and Trish, they're a family of geeks who promote geek things, particularly those around the Orlando, Florida area. They're big supporters of Silverline, and we think you should be supporters of theirs too. Go give them some love. If you are an independent comic book maker and you need to get your independent comics made, you need to look no further than Kablam Digital Printing. They print our books, and they do a bang-up job. They're not only trusted by Silverline, but many, many independent comic book makers. Head on over to kablam.com and see for yourself just how easy it is to have your comic printed by them. And tell them Silverline sent you.
Hi, this is Tim TK, host of That Silverline Show on Tuesday. Join us at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific every Tuesday night as we discuss pop culture and the joys of making comics.
Hi, I'm Barb Kaalberg, co-host of Silverline's Wednesday Wham. Join us each Wednesday night as we discuss comics, literature, movies, and anything else that may catch our attention.
I'm Roland Mann, and I host Silverline's Silver Sunday. Join me every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern as we make mine Silverline.
Hello, internets. Welcome back to That Show on Tuesday. I'm your host, Tim TK, joined as always by Jose Fuentes.
Hello.
And a special guest tonight, Barb Kaalberg.
Hello.
And we will have David Rios joining us shortly. But tonight is going to be a special show. We are doing the live launch for Divinity number 4, Barb's comic. Just why she joined us. And I believe that will be going live
in half an hour.
Eastern, so about, half an hour. So we already have the link at the top of their chat, and when it goes live, we'll post that link again. So make sure to go ahead and get your backing in. Again, this is a Silverline project, so that means that the book is complete. We're not selling you on a pipe dream that comes out down the line. We are just asking you to pre-order a comic. We already have some people in chat tonight. Scott and Rory from Jackson, Mississippi, saying hello.
I was going to ask what MS meant.
Yeah.
Out of me. I've been out of school too long.
And we have some screens to share real quick. Before we get too deep into things, though, let's just pull up what that backer page actually looks like.
Look at that.
I know.
Yes. You know whose artwork that is? That is Kevin West's artwork. Actually, let me just grab that right here. This is his cover.
That is
right
killer.
Here.
That's awesome.
This is his cover. He did a cover. He did one of the original Divinity pieces as well. And this will be on sale at during the Kickstarter. What you're seeing there is the covered version. So this is an amazing, amazing piece. And I'm trying to pull up the artwork for that here.
And it does also have a foil variant, I believe.
It has a what?
Foil variant.
Oh my. That's the
Yeah.
first I have actually seen that.
That's pretty. I like that.
That's real nice.
That rocks.
And that's going to be exclusively available during the pre-order period. So if you want it, you have to get it now.
Yes. I absolutely adore his work. It's just kick-ass beautiful. When you're done sharing a screen, I've got a large screen of that too. There it is. Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
That's one of the covers that we have available. And this is the inked version right here that I just showed you, which will be for sale. Another cover, Martin Martinoff did his very first ever cover, and that's this one here. And I decided just to keep it kind of old school simple. I just threw 2 colors in there and let it go, because I like the simplicity of it. It's something different, something eye-catching and different.
And for those of you watching, you might recognize that name. Martin is also the one who did colors on Wolf Hunter.
That's right. And some guy I don't really know did this cover here. Who would that be?
Never met him.
Never met him. His name is Jose, somebody or other. I don't know.
Right? He's all right.
Did the third cover for this. Yes, I am up late, and I'm already yawning, and it's hot and humid here in Wisconsin.
Well.
Oh, you got that one?
I got the pencils for it, yeah.
Nice.
Sweet.
Yep.
Yes.
They're getting ready to be sent to Roland.
Is that going to be on the Kickstarter?
Yes, it is.
Yay. That's awesome. I do have the Flickr. I'll pull up later to show you some of the artwork that is for sale.
I actually already am one step ahead of you on that.
Okay, good. You got my link. I was going to show you. Hey. Yay. I'm going to show you a few sneak peeks of some of the artwork in there, just snippets that will just get you curious about what's going on. I don't know if you guys are up to date on what happened at issue number 3. Hi, David.
Hello.
But when we left our intrepid team in issue number 3, Vinny was in the hands of the bad guys, and Mr. Pinter is his name. He's a millionaire, and he snatched her, and he was supposed to test out her abilities for the mysterious Table of 5, which is an evil cabal that he works for. And so he had her heal him in issue number 3, and in issue number 4 now, she's not very happy with him, as you can see. And you'll have to read to find out exactly why she's so upset. And later on, obviously she's being held prisoner, and so later on, obviously we have a rescue mission. And here's the lovely Olivia Barnes, Corporal Olivia Barnes, that is one of 2 people who are taking care of Vinny. She's an ex-Marine who used to work with Zach. There's Zach, the older brother, who's 24. He's 13 years older than Vinny. And obviously he's on a mission here to save her. Our badass Olivia again. I colored this, by the way. I ink and color. So I'm late into the coloring game. So I just started coloring when I turned 60. Oh no!
So that last panel you had up, I used that. That was one of a heavy reference for me for the cover I did. So I could make sure I got the arm, padding, arm, everything right. Yep.
Well, so that's a Mossberg 500, by the way, just in case you wanted to know. So is that Mossberg 500 shotgun for anybody out there who wanted some reference. That's what I'm using for their shotguns.
Mm-hmm. It's
And-
a classic breaching shotgun.
Yes,
You'd
it
use that
is.
over Nelly.
Yep. I like to know what firearms I'm putting in my books. My dad is a collector, so I've been raised around firearms my entire life.
Yep.
Something really cool is happening here.
Yeah.
But you guys will have to read the book. My pencilers for this issue were the Kennedy brothers. Pat and Tim Kennedy. They are of Archie fame. They worked for Archie for years and years. Unfortunately, Tim passed away during the penciling of this issue from that dreaded C word that started this whole mess, cancer.
Mm.
So it just seems like this project just got that thing going. It came about because my brother had cancer, and unfortunately, Tim passed away from cancer while doing this. So this issue is dedicated to him and Roland's father, who also passed away from cancer. Oh, what can I say? It's depressing, but
yeah, I mean, it is interesting how poetic projects work out like that sometimes, though.
It is. The entire book, the entire series came about. I haven't talked about this on the Tuesday night stream. I have, I think, on the Sunday and the Wednesday night stream. And it came about because my brother contracted cancer. And I realized that one of my moral failings was that I would have done literally anything to find a cure for him. And I asked myself, how far would you really go? And I would have gone all the way. I would have done anything to have found a cure. And I was sleeping one night and I had this dream where Divinity came to me, fully realized where she could heal. But the moral dilemma then again became who would want to get a hold of her powers and use it for their own gain. And I would have been right there. I would have been right there with Pinter, grabbing her up. So it's a book about morals. It's a book about family. Their parents are killed, and Zach, who had his heart set on a career in the Marines, is given a hardship discharge, much to his bitter disappointment, and has to come back and take care of a half sister he really doesn't really know. So the books are also a journey on these two becoming a family with, and Olivia joins them, and trying to make everything work while on the run. And we will run across, it'll be a road story, a road trip, kind of like Firestarter meets The Fugitive. So they're going to be on the road, supernatural like, crossing the highways and trying to stay away from the bad guys and trying to figure out how to run their lives in the meantime.
Yeah. I have read through the entire 1 through 4, the first volume, as it were, and there's definitely not to give anything away, but it definitely looks like we're setting up for much more in the future. So do you have an idea of how much you have planned for Divinity, or you have still workshopping that?
5 is penciled. I'm inking it right now. 6 is at the pencilers. He's just started on it this week. 7, I'm working on the writing on that. I took over all the writing and scripting duties as of number 5. R.A. Jones, absolutely fantastic, wonderful writer and good friend. He helped me script the first 4 issues until I could stand on my own 2 feet script wise.
Yeah.
I've always been able to write, but scripting is a different animal.
Yes.
Completely different animal. So until I got my feet under me on that, he helped me out. So as of issue 5, I took over all of the writing duties myself. And I have 7 is got a rough outline. 8 is an idea. And I have 9, 10, 11, 12 sketched out. Well, outlined. So,
Okay.
yeah. And each story arc is going to be, 4-issue arc. And we'll wrap up sort of, but we'll have an overarching theme, so that we just go on to the next town down the road, wherever. The next series starts with number 5. It'll be taking place in Georgia, so we're going to be leaving our area here. We're in a number 4, and I think it's in New York state, and then we're going to be heading to South Carolina and then Georgia. So we're working our way to the south.
Very cool.
They're going to pick up a really cool car like an Impala or a Mustang or something.
Well, you bring up a really, really good point, because you're going to see nothing that they're driving that isn't old.
Nice.
That's what I like.
Because there's a reason for that. Because most cars nowadays are low jacked, at least.
Mm-hmm.
They have to have something you can't trace. So, and my brother was a classic car enthusiast. I was also raised around old classic cars my entire life. So I think the next thing the next thing I know you're going to see him is an old Chevrolet truck. And then we're going to go to a station wagon for a while.
I did notice that in the 4th one.
Yes.
I did notice the truck stood out to me very much so.
1957. I'm not positive. I would have to look back and see it. But yeah, they're going to stick to the old stuff, so they can't be tracked.
I feel like that also just adds to the allure of a road trip story is the car fetish of it all.
Definitely. You got some art to show us there?
We have some work. Let's see.
Because I can also share it if you want. On the Flickr, all the art for sale.
Oh, yes. Okay. We do have that.
I thought you were asking Jose if he had some art to show.
No, we're going to show the art available for sale.
Yes.
The inked pages, I believe, are going for $75 a piece, which is an absolutely fantastic deal.
Yeah.
Penciled pages will be going for $50 again a piece. Again, a steal. This is ink pages from issue number 1. Yeah, this is issue number 1. Pencils from Alex Sarabia. Absolutely fantastic penciler. I love his stuff. I was sad that he couldn't do the issue number 4, but he had a commitment that he couldn't get out of. So that's where Tim and Pat stepped up. And then I have a new penciler. His name he goes by Tesco 13, taking over as of issue number 5. And I'm really liking his stuff.
Nice.
More pencils from issue 1. I started working all digitally as of issue number 2 or 3. I can't remember. So these are the last of my physical pages. Again, very awesome pages from Alex. These are all for sale. This guy right here will pop up at the bottom of this panel here, bottom right-hand panel. This guy will pop up later in a couple of issues.
Okay.
He's a slimy little dude, a little weasel.
I was about to say he reminds me of someone I know named Robbie, but
Yes. We have Zach in the middle there. And oh, yeah. Big fight scene, issue 1. Where the thugs attack in the bar.
I love anytime you can get someone's face as part of an impact. Just smashing them around. Always looks great.
This was a lot of fun to work with. It was the first time. Well, I did not color issue number 1, although I'm recoloring issue 1 for the trade paperback. Issue number 1 was colored real old style with markers. Steve Matson of the Boris the Bear fame, he and his daughter colored that. But I took over the coloring duties as of issue number 2, and just to make it consistent, I'll go back and recolor issue number 1 for the trade paperback.
That's fair.
I didn't start coloring until after I turned 60. I already told you that. And that was 5 years ago. So I'd never done digital artwork in my life.
Mm-hmm.
But, age brings its issues and with eyes and hands. And I switched to digital, and it has been absolutely fantastic. I love it. And so I figured if I'm going to start inking digitally, I wanted to learn to color. I'd never done it before.
Right.
I'm having a blast.
I know. I mean, if you get to the point where Takeover Illustration, you can just turn this into a one Barb show.
No, that's never going to happen. I'm always going to subcontract my pencils out, and I pay my penciler myself out of my show proceeds. I do a lot of shows.
Nice.
Because if it were up to me to pencil, you would never see the book, because I'd pencil one panel and then I'd erase it and redo it, and then I'd erase it and redo it, and that would just be the whole thing.
And erasing's easy when it's digital.
Yeah, I'm never happy with my own pencils. I can always find fault with it. So it's so much easier and faster to take the pencils and then make my mark with the inks and stuff like that. Everything's already laid out.
Right.
I'm horrendously slow penciler, fast inker, fast colorist, turtle snail penciler. So.
I mean, that's still something.
That's Rick Hoberg, the legendary Rick Hoberg pencils and my inks. Nice illustration there of Zach. I believe this one is 100, I think.
Okay.
I believe, or maybe it was 100. Yeah.
Okay.
I can't remember.
Who's the pencil?
Pencils.
That tracks, yeah.
Those are somebody's.
Yeah.
Yeah, anybody like Jose's pencils out there, you guys can get his original pencils during this this crowdfunder. Sorry, I said the good word.
Yeah.
we didn't hear it. It's okay.
Fund my comics.
Yeah.
Right.
It is. It's running into the same issue as Twitter is now, where you turn your name into such a colloquial thing that when you get rid of that,
Now you're right.
Yeah.
Now then it becomes the verb.
Yeah.
It's really this is a lovely color from or cover from Dean Zachary and myself. Dean just does such gorgeous covers. This is also available. I think it's 150 for this one. Yes, 150 for this one. But his stuff is just so kick-ass.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what this means is that if anyone's collecting the Dean Zachary covers for Wolf Hunter, they also need to get this cover for Divinity, so you can, get the full collection from Silverline.
That's right.
Right.
And vice versa, right, Tim?
Yeah, of course, yeah. I know.
This one's also 150. This is Ken Hooper. I don't know if you guys remember Ken from the 90s. He used to do Aquaman. We did a bunch of issues of Primal Force together. He didn't finish a series, but I did. I worked on every issue of Primal Force for DC. We worked on Elf Quest together. We've done a lot of work together. Mm-hmm.
I remember
So,
Quest.
Yep. We worked for Warp Graphics. So he's another friend who was very gracious about getting a cover done for me. And he likes his gray washes too. So this is a beautiful. I didn't ink this. This is all Ken's beautiful work. His stuff is just gorgeous. And back to Kevin West. The original piece that he did for Divinity, I bought back from my own crowdfunding campaign. Divinity #1. I couldn't part with it. I couldn't part with that or the Mel Ruby piece, and I bought them back from my own crowdfunding.
Nice.
I know.
Yeah.
That's sad, but they're up on my wall now here on my studio because I love them so much. I couldn't part with them.
Yeah. We wouldn't be making this stuff if we didn't like it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I am biased, and I like the cover I did, but man, the expressions on this one are so great. I love this one so much.
Yeah.
Well, Kevin's a legend.
Mhm.
Gravy. That's awesome.
Yeah. Now, anytime you get this kind of whooshing visual effect on there, I'm sold.
Absolutely.
And it looks so cool, like with the inks and the way the colors are, and the way they did the chrome, the metal for it on the cover.
Yes.
Gosh, it looks so good. It makes it pop out so much more.
That one's going on my wall. I also have my favorite covers on my wall above me here. I have original artwork above me here on my studio walls, and I also have my favorite comic book covers, which include Cat and Mouse #1, which is Dean Zachary and myself, and Divinity #2 with the Jeff Johnson cover. Oh, that's such a gorgeous piece. And that one's gonna end up on my wall of fame here too.
That's cool.
We're about 4 minutes away from our launch, which is great.
I think it's actually at 59.
Oh, is it?
I think so. I'll double check. I have it keep on refreshing on there, but it says it starts at 11:59 Eastern.
Okay.
9:59 here.
I thought he was going to flip the switch early, but we shall see.
We shall see. We'll keep it. We might get it early. We'll see. But yes, as with every other Kickstarter or funding, pre-order campaign.
I'm not the only one.
Yes, this is also an opportunity for people to get back issues. So, if someone wanted to jump in and collect all of the first volume of Divinity, if they haven't been found so far,
which you should.
It's a very good story. Can you give us kind of like the elevator pitch, Barb?
The elevator pitch. Divinity Gray's parents are killed under mysterious circumstances, and her older brother, Zach, 24-year-old brother from the Marines, is sent home on a hardship discharge to take care of a younger sister he barely knows. He starts getting suspicious about how his parents were killed, and when he finds his sister in the backyard healing a dog, he discovers that she has this gift of healing. And soon after that, bad guys break in and they have to go on the run because he realizes that there are evil forces after her. If you think about it, I mean, think about what people would say, oh, yeah, that'd be so cool. Being able to heal. Really? Would it, though? Would it be that cool? Think about it. If people knew what you could do, you wouldn't even be able to walk out your front door.
Sure wouldn't.
You'd be bombarded and mobbed the second you walked out the door. And if you didn't help people, then they get pissed off at you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's actually a two-bladed sword.
Yeah.
It seems like it would be a real gift, but actually it's a real curse.
Yeah. It seemed rather timely. I know it wasn't. I don't think it was intentional because I know how long you've been working on this. But with the last couple of years, with the rise of these multimillionaires and their blood boys.
Yeah. That's weird.
But I definitely, kind of the immediate case in point of why this could get someone targeted.
What's funny is that I designed a character that's going to show up in issue #5. I designed him a long time ago. His name is Dixon, and he's a double amputee, and he's a computer hacker, a computer whiz. And then all of a sudden, here on this TV show, Tracker pops up this double amputee hacker, and people are going to say, "Oh, she plagiarized that TV show." No.
Right.
I had that long before they ever came along.
Yeah, I mean that's something I always tell people when we were working in indie comics is, it takes longer than you think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And we did talk to Roland, and we are actually live now.
Yay! We're on the board, people.
On the board. So I'm going to post that link in the chat again. So if you are hoping to get your pre-order in for Divinity #4, go ahead and follow that link. I'll wait to do mine so I don't put my credit card information in on stream. I think a bad idea.
Yeah, let's not do that.
I've got my paper and pencil ready, Tim. Go ahead. I don't mind.
Cut and paste. Cut and paste.
Yeah.
Well, what the fantastic thing about indie comics these days is that you can tell stories like this, and they're fresh and new. I think. Hi, y'all
Hey,
up so
Tommy.
late? It's a Floramonte flyby.
Yes, it's also it's only 8:30 for David and me, Tommy. So it's prime hours.
We're showing off your foil cover, which was just kick ass.
Bad printing, everyone.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's so gorgeous. I hadn't seen it until you just showed me tonight. That's so pretty.
Right.
Yep. That's definitely getting framed.
Look at Thomas Palm.
Yeah.
Definitely getting framed.
I mean, as it should.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you gone through and gotten any of your own books graded yet?
I have not. You know what? And this is sad. This is extremely sad. I've been in comics for over 35 years, and I've never, ever had a comic graded.
Yeah.
Just wasn't that important to me.
Yeah.
I like to read my comics.
Right.
So there's not a single one of my comics that are going to be.
I had a friend who's a writer and does his own book, and he got a book that I worked on for him. He got it graded. He sent me a copy of it as a gift.
I should probably do something like that with a few of my covers, especially since I want to pass them down.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I have to preserve it. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this before, but everyone enjoys comics in their own way. For some people, they like collecting grades. For other people, they are fine just having the catalog.
I've never been a big fan of the grading. I think it just drives them up. I mean, if you're a collector, that's fine. I've never been a collector. I've never had any point where I just wanted to turn around and resell something. So I want to be able to read it. I want to be able to look at it, hold it in my hands, and not pay somebody
to it years later.
Not pay somebody a bunch of money to put it in a piece of plastic that I can't touch it. So
what's really bizarre is going to some of these auction sites and finding your old artwork and what they're selling for now. It's like, oh my God. I sold that for $200 and they're selling it for $2,500.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. Well, I went there recently I was just looking up something on Comics Find because I wanted to show someone a reference. And I pulled up Wolf Runner #1, and I found that someone had apparently resold the cover that Steve did for the Kickstarter. Had resold it for over $100. I'm like, this was something that I sold for $5 at the table.
Doesn't that just blow your mind?
Yeah.
Like if I would have just hung on to that for a few more years.
Mm-hmm.
I keep telling that to my friends. If you buy any of my books, just hold on to it forever, because then your grandkids might make money off it.
Yeah.
I remember selling a She-Hulk splash page at San Diego Comic-Con back in the 90s for $400, and I thought that was just about it. That, oh my God, $400 for one sheet, one page. Now I look at that and I'm like, I gave that sucker away.
Yeah, well, I was reading some of the article about some of the signatures that Jim Lee is getting paid to do. That's big money.
That's big money.
Big money. So great for him. It's just wow. I'm amazed.
Well, and the other thing is that I have a problem, and I realize that the reason behind this, but I have a problem with people charging for their autographs.
Yeah.
And I realize that that's because people will get famous people to sign their autographs, and then they'll turn right around and sell it, right? And the artists get angry that they're making money off of their autographed items. On the flip side of that, it doesn't cost me a cent to scribble my name on something. And 90% of the time, the stuff that I'm signing is personal to somebody. They're not going to turn around and sell it. The 10% that are selling them, well, I'm just grateful to have fans who are willing to ask me for an autograph. I mean, these are people who have the entire 90s when I was doing comics full time. They were the ones putting a roof over my children's heads and putting food on my table. So I was very happy to just do an autograph, Yeah. And I even had a guy at a show that tracked me down after the show was done. He didn't get around to my table in time, and I was getting ready to take off, and he found me out in the parking lot. And he goes, "I didn't get a chance to see you. Would you sign some comics?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." He had an entire long box of my books. And they weren't multiples of they were just all the titles that I'd done. I've done a lot of titles. And we stood out there in the parking lot. He put that box on the trunk of my car, and I signed every single one of them.
Wow.
But it's a small price to pay, as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, I definitely feel like you made his night. Oh well.
Well, people we're looking for our first funder.
Yes.
Who's going to be first?
Run through and show off all of the artwork tiers here now.
What are you working on these days, Tim? I know one of the things you're working on.
Yes. We got Wolf Hunter 2 and 3 are both in various stages of production. I think 2 is going through letters now. 3 is going through pencils. We do have a book, which I believe it has been announced, as we do have artwork you can show for it, which is Silverline presents Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Oh, we can say it now?
I believe so. I mean, Roland said to wait till we got artwork, and we got pencils from Rob. So,
and inks from some gal I never heard of.
Inks from someone, I heard they also have a book that's currently available for pre-order.
Yes, I have. I just got page 10, I believe, from Rob that I have to pencil yet, or maybe it's 11. I can't remember. Or I have to ink it. Yeah, that one's a lot of fun too.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I'm really enjoying writing that, and I like that we're we'll get into our additional stuff. So you can get an add-on, get a one Silverline backer issue. We should probably look at doing this one with your pre-order of Divinity. Yes, that was a lot of fun. It's interesting writing that one as a direct adaptation of the Bram Stoker story, and not necessarily doing the universal retelling or any of the more theatrical releases of Dracula, because they always make some very drastic changes. But
we're staying true to the original.
Yes, and the original itself, like it's not jet setting. It's a train and boat setting, cross-continental adventure. So
that's true.
Still lots of action, lots of mystery, and more. I think some some elements of Silverline taking our first steps into elements that might be considered body horror, because there's a lot of that in the book.
Yes. How about you, Jose? What are you working on?
I just, like, within the last few weeks, finished inks for Cat and Mouse Vipers #1,
Ooh.
and finishing up. Well, not finishing up, but I'm working on inks for the first half of Obsoletes #3, and then I'll be penciling the rest of the book.
Well, you have a full plate.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep busy.
How about you, David?
I'm currently trying to finish up Demon Tales, and then I have Silver Storm next in line to work on.
Cool. I am working on, obviously, Divinity, and I'm working on Dracula, and I'm also trying to keep the books.
Yes.
So yes, that's always a fun job. So I'm always yelling at Roland, "Where's this invoice? Send it to me now."
Right.
I need receipts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Receipts. That's right. So that keeps me pretty busy, along with my grandkids and travel. We do a lot of shows. We travel back to Iowa to see my father, who's 87 and
We're
still
at
on the
Iowa.
farm. Where in Iowa?
Yeah.
Little town called West Liberty, Iowa, between Muscatine and Iowa City.
Okay.
My father's
I used to live in Hastings.
okay. Yeah, my dad's 87. He still lives on the farm, and he still putters around. So we go down once a month to do the stuff that he isn't capable of doing.
Yeah.
So between that and my shows, I try to do all the local shows. That keeps him busy.
Right.
Yeah.
My daughter still lives in Omaha, but my ex-wife and her family are basically from Hastings, and that's where we live. And my daughter still makes the trip from Omaha to Hastings to visit Grandma and Grandpa to check on them, make sure they're okay.
Yep. Iowa's a nice place. I was born and raised there, and I really, really, really miss the country. I'm a farm girl. But Wisconsin has no gravel roads. So I would find it very, very difficult to actually leave Wisconsin at this point in time, because I really don't like gravel roads. I was raised on gravel roads, and I didn't know any different, learned how to ride a bike on a gravel road. But once I moved to Wisconsin, I'm like, wow, they don't have any gravel. Everything's paved. Even the little back roads are paved. My car's going to love this. So, yeah. I'm spoiled now.
What's the next show you have coming up that people can catch you at?
I'm going to be in Cedar Falls on the last weekend of the month, the 28th, I believe it is, 27th or 28th. Last weekend of July, I will be in Cedar Falls, Iowa.
Okay.
And then after that one will be in September, I'll be in Dubuque.
Okay.
And then in November, I will be here in Madison, only 8 minutes away. My favorite show.
Yes.
Because I can sleep in my own bed.
Yeah. Can't really fight that. Do you find yourself mostly sticking to the smaller local shows, or do you still make time for the big ones?
Nope. I have given up on the big shows. They're too far. They're too expensive.
They're
And
a lot.
Yeah. San Diego, I used to go every single year. I did it like for 14 years, all through the late 80s, all through the 90s, and the early 2000s, and then I stopped going. And then I went back in 2014, and I was in culture shock because there was wall-to-wall people. It was like you couldn't even move.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't find anybody. It was just overwhelming. And I said I'd never go back again. And then, of course, that was a lie, because the 25th anniversary of Malibu Comics came around, and they wanted me to be there. So I went out about 4 years later after that and did it again. But now I say, no, I'll never, unless they fly me out there, I will never go out there again because it's just too much.
I know. Well,
I'd rather be a big fish in a small pond. Let's put it that way.
that's fair. Yeah, easier to make a table. But just gotta wait for someone to option the first volume of Divinity and get your creator ticket funded out for you by the con.
Yep. And it's always a possibility. This is like tailor made for TV, but I didn't do it for TV. I did it for myself. But if anybody's out there listening, yes, this is a tailor made book for TV.
Yeah, I mean, even reading it, you can definitely get a lot of elements of your classic 80s pulp in there. Like there's a lot of elements of A-Team, or even now some Stranger Things elements in there as well. Which
I just come off binge watching like 14 seasons of Supernatural, so that was probably flavored heavily, salted throughout.
God, that's a great show.
The one thing I enjoy. Go ahead.
That's one show I haven't ever seen.
Oh, I'm missing something good. It's great.
I've heard that. I really have.
It's 15 seasons long.
Yeah. It's one of those things that we kind of pepper throughout the year, and then when it comes to October, we binge watch as much as we can.
Let's see. I've got a binge watch coming up at the end of this week because hubby and my daughter for Father's Day bought my husband tickets to the Indiana Fever to go watch Caitlin Clark play in Indianapolis.
Okay.
Caitlin Clark is an Iowa girl, and of course, so we're huge into watching her. So they're going to take off this weekend and go watch her, and I'm going to binge watch all the Lord of the Rings movies again.
Nice. Yes.
Eat all the foods that I like, but Dick doesn't, and I never get. And binge watch Lord of the Rings. It sounds like a perfect weekend.
There you go. All right, we are still waiting for our first first pre-order. We have been live for about 17 minutes, and the show for tonight we're going on until about usual time 9:20, 9:30 Eastern Pacific time. Eastern time, Eastern time zone isn't real. The campaign itself is going on until the end of the month, July 31st. So,
actually, it's going into August. It's going to go for 4 weeks.
Okay.
August 7th, I believe.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So Brawl will get us updated then. But looking for.
He's going to update that.
Looking for $1,500 of our goal, and with how things have been done so far on my comic, we've been hitting our goals and exceeded them pretty easily. So, but if you're wanting to get in on any of these limited time selections, any of these one-of-one art pieces, make sure to do so early on.
Yeah.
The Kevin West.
Yeah. The first Divinity Kickstarter that we had, the original art just flew out of there. It was really amazing. So don't delay, because some of this artwork, Clark is tearing it up on. Oh yes. Oh yeah, Caitlin Clark. She's our gal.
Yeah.
This is the one thing I do love about indie comics, is that your stories can be very personal to you. You're not constrained by corporate bean counters saying, oh, no, I don't think this is something that would fly to our audiences. Or, oh, no, this is not politically correct. Or, oh, no, it's got too much blood in it. We can't have that. In indie comics, you are writing for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing the books for yourself, and you're hoping that people like what you're doing as well as you do. You're getting fresher, more innovative stories. Yes, You're getting stories and books that push the envelope that you would never see in the big two, because they're too afraid of upsetting the apple cart.
Mhm.
So to
Yep.
speak. Especially Disney. You know, so I honestly think that indie comics are the wave of the future for the comics industry. I don't think the comics industry, as it was 10 years ago, would survive. I think the status quo is teetering on its last legs, and I think indie comics is just the thing that we need to keep our industry alive.
Yes. I mean, it's in the conversations that I have where I follow, like everyone of course mentions like the Marvel and DC runs, because there's, at this point it's just the name recognition, but you don't really get like as deep down nitty gritty conversations or deep passion like you have with comics, indie comics, that there is enough grit in a single volume or a single issue to really like tear into. It's not just setting up the next big crossover event.
Yes. Oh, and I mean, I still collect Marvel and DC.
Right.
I do, because I have characters that I love. So it's not so much that I don't like Marvel and DC. I wouldn't buy their product if I didn't like them. I think I collect fewer and fewer books all the time. I think I'm down to one Marvel and one DC book.
Yeah.
And because they're becoming redundant.
Yeah.
How many times are they going to restart or reboot the same comic? We were talking about this right before we came on the air, is that I collect Iron Man. I'm a Tony Stark fan. Oh boy, am I a Tony Stark fan. They canceled it. They canceled Iron Man. And I'm like, wow, how can they do that? But then you realize that they'll give it 6 months and they'll just reboot it. It's so different format and different story and different whatever, and that's so overdone and so tired that I don't know if I'll pick it up again.
Yeah.
When they reboot it, I'm done.
That's about the same for me. I've just been following X-Men and the Green Lantern, but not going into the different side series unless they get collected into the hardcover.
Mm-hmm.
But like I do not have the funds nor the time to find the 8 different X titles that come out each month.
Oh God, no! On the bazillion crossovers.
Mm-hmm.
No, I've been really, really enjoying indies. I just got in on the Kickstarter that just ended, it was Kickstarter that just ended. We had the gal on a couple weeks ago, Path of the Pale Rider.
Mm-hmm.
I just bought into that one because I had her on as a guest, and she convinced me just within the first few minutes that I needed to have that book. And so I kicked in on that one.
Nice. Yeah. There's been a few different ones that I've been following, but it feels weird calling this indie, even though their creation process very much is. But I've been following the Comixology Originals. It feels weird calling them an indie because it's published through Amazon, and Amazon is the definition of mega corporation.
Mm-hmm.
But it's done the same way of like an image, right? It's essentially the creatives have to submit their completed book to get published through Amazon. And Amazon decides, like, all right, we'll run it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no real editorial pushback on them.
Nope.
I feel that I mentioned before they're like Clear, which is like quintessential dystopian cyberpunk noir, like a lot. And a newer one that came out called Barnstormers, which if you like Wolf Hunter, you like Barnstormers. It's murder mystery following prop plane pilots.
Well, there you go. That's different.
Yeah.
That's certainly different. The one thing I really love about Silverline, and I've been with Silverline since this iteration of Silverline 3.0,
Hey,
since the very first day. Yay! We're on the board. Thank you, whoever did that. What I really like about this is that we haven't pigeonholed ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have such a wide variety of genres and book types and looks, you know, on our books. Everything from Be, which is a children's book, all the way up to, well, Dracula and Divinity and Trumps. I love Trumps. That is such a great complex story. I like Wolf Hunter.
You mean this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I wore it specifically for today. Yeah, here, you want to zoom back in again?
Yes.
There we go. Trumps. Oh.
There we go. Which, if you have not bought Silverline merch before, it's pretty comfy.
Right.
Speaking of someone who's gotten a shirt at a convention and then immediately had to wash it like 5 times.
I just have to say that Quentin just knocked it out of the park on this.
Yeah, he did.
Before I even saw the color added, when I saw him he was working on
that one.
The pencil sketch for it. He hadn't even inked it yet. I was sold, and I was waiting for it to come out, and then it just got better and better. So
kick-ass cover. That is one of my favorite covers that we've done at Silverline. Hello. Anybody out there?
Oh,
I can hear you.
Here. I just had a pop-up that I had to get rid of.
Were you battling the bots, Tim? Is that what it was? Battling the bots.
Yes. Battling the different add-ons I have, because this is also one of my work devices, so I have all these different tools for editing and proofing tied into my web browser. Sometimes up into those unfortunate times.
Y'all are making me blush. Well, you should.
Yeah, I'm just glad to be the Nepo baby of Silverline.
There you go.
Brown nosed rolling enough in class that he reached out to me after I graduated.
Yeah. People always ask me all the time, it's like, what school did you go to learn about comics? I'm like, what? School?
Landon's drugstore.
Yeah. Self-taught. Back when I started, there was only Kubert School was just getting off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And there weren't any colleges that taught comics. Now several of them do.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, even like several community colleges will at least offer like a course on comics, or at least comics as literature.
Yes. Yes. Or how to write script writing. Script writing is popular classes. Tim was a rock star in class. Oh, now who's brown nosing?
Exactly.
Yeah, you don't have to brown nose Tim, boss. You don't have to.
Flattery will get you everywhere. Yeah. I mean, whenever I get a question like that, either like on the Tuesday show or like on my Twitch stream, even as someone who has a college degree in creative writing, my answer is always YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, YouTube is the best step. I just want to put that out there.
Yeah.
The best.
I got my degree so then I could get my day job in corporate marketing, so I can make sure my bills are getting paid, because comics do not pay the bills. But if you want to just make comics, then you don't necessarily want to have a day job that involves some sort of copywriting. YouTube.
Comics supported me very nicely all through the 90s, and when the industry kind of fell apart in 2000, 2001,
Yeah.
I went back to my Muggle job, which was accounting, which is why I ended up being the accountant for Silverline.
Yes.
But I still did comics on the side, and then when I retired, I went back to it full time. But you're right; it's very hard to make a living at that these days. But I'm really self-taught on almost everything that I've done in comics, even coloring. I went to the University of YouTube for my coloring.
I bet you never heard it called that.
You haven't? Oh, I call it that all the time.
I've never heard it called that. That's cool.
Yep.
Like I tell people when they ask me like, oh, how do you do this? How do you do that? Like I will give you as much information. Like I love talking about my process. I love talking about the decisions I made in said process. But your best bet is to go to YouTube, or if you want to learn to use a specific program, it does cost money, but Lynda is an amazing like website to like if you want to pay the money to learn how to do new programs.
Yeah.
Lynda?
Yeah, Lynda.
Yeah, when they went through school, that's how we got a lot of our like professional certificates. Was they're now hosted through Lynda. Although now Skillshare is starting to provide certificates as well. So if you want something, you can provide to recruiters.
So I've never actually done Skillshare. I've heard it. I've heard about it. I think
There's so many tutorials on YouTube. Even when I was in accounting, and they'd upgrade the spreadsheet software, and they'd add new functions to it. Like, I got to go look that up on YouTube. And I'd sit there and I'd watch it on YouTube and learn all my new stuff there. You know, there's tutorials for everything. You know.
Yeah, I know LinkedIn acquired them to do their own catalog. So I've also been recommending people, if you have a LinkedIn, you also have LinkedIn. If you have LinkedIn, you also have a bunch of professional courses you can use.
That's cool.
Well, folks, it is way past my bedtime. I'm an old person. I'm 2 hours past my bedtime.
Oh, no.
Oh, we're just getting started here. We still normally have a half an hour.
Oh, you guys go for an hour and a half?
We usually go for an hour and a half, yeah. But, so we'll see if we can't get another backer or two in before we call it quits for the night. I guess we should have got some old Wednesday Wham stuff to react to in the background, because that was for those of you who are long time Silverline heads, as Barb mentioned, being here since the beginning of the relaunch. Barb and I used to be on a show together with Sid and then later Scott.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you can't sleep and want some watching in bed on your phone, you can find.
And I will be hosting tomorrow night's podcast, Wednesday Wham. I usually do Wednesday Whams, the Wednesday show, and but we decided to kickstart the Kickstarter. I'm sorry. We decided to launch.
Kickstart the crowdfund.
Yeah. We decided to launch it. We were supposed to launch it yesterday, and we decided to do it today so we could do it on a podcast. And I was supposed to have Derek Robertson on tomorrow night, one of the co-creators of The Boys.
Yes.
Nice.
On Amazon. Yeah, he's one of my old pencilers. So I was supposed to have him on, and he had to cancel and reschedule. He's going to come do it on the 31st instead. So tomorrow night, we're going to have one of my famous round robins. If you guys want to join us, anybody out there in podcast land want to join us tomorrow night? Our round robins, I hold one every few months, and they are hilarious. I ask wonderful questions like who would win, Tony Stark or Batman? What's your favorite Silverline character? What makes a sandwich? Is a hot dog a sandwich or not? And one of the ones
that's a constant debate. That's just ongoing. So
yes. And I ask all the controversial questions. So tune in tomorrow night to hear me ask things like, if you have to pick one, which would you rather be in a room with, a camel spider or a boa constrictor? So
Nice.
questions like that, the big deep things,
And what's interesting is you always have Rob Davis come up and give you a history of, the Duke of Sandwich and all this stuff.
Yes. The Duke of Sandwich. That's right. He did that, didn't he?
Yep. Yeah,
Well,
I did.
We went off on a tangent on that sandwich thing for like half an hour for the show. It was supposed to be a bunch of questions, and here we spent half an hour arguing about what constituted a sandwich.
It's not arguing. It's just a friendly debate.
Well,
That's what made it so fun.
Well, David, you hadn't joined yet, but before the show, we had brought something that I thought Jose was going to break up the chunk with. It had, following similar logic, we could say that a fajita is a bread bowl.
You better watch yourself, sir.
A fajita is a Red Bull?
As a bread bowl.
Oh,
Bread Bowl.
Yeah, I thought he was going to come through the screen. Yes, we get very passionate about our sandwiches.
Right?
Or is that more a chalupa or a torta?
You know what chalupa is? Chalupa is a boat.
Yes.
Want to put that out there.
A torta is a hoagie.
It's a hoagie.
Del Taco is going to pull back their sponsorship of Silverline.
I know, right?
Are they sponsoring us, or are we sponsoring them?
Hey,
that's the big
You're trying.
It's just the perpetual moonlit dance back and forth to keep our legal teams at bay.
Right.
There you go.
Okay.
I'm gonna go in and do a live Del Taco stream on Silverline Tuesday show because they're supposed to be open up soon.
I'd love to do it. We're going to get everyone in one room. Do like a podcast from a convention, but do it from the Del Taco that we get lunch at outside. Right. Yeah.
You got to convince somebody to dress up as Dan. Dan from Del Taco.
Yes.
Why don't you just have a cooking demonstration on one of the podcasts and show us what makes a real taco or fajita?
I mean, not sour cream. I said it.
Yes.
Oh, that's crazy.
The whole cheese and sour cream thing is very not authentic.
Yeah.
Nope. It's funny. My wife took when she was in Fort Myers. She took a few friends to a taco truck, and they ordered taco. And then my wife ordered hers, got to the side, and then her friends started ordering. Can I get this, but only on the side, and this on the side? And like, we don't have that. We don't do sour cream. How do you not have sour cream? And my wife's over here like, it's not like that. Sour cream isn't a
First time I ever had real authentic Mexican food was in San Diego one year at San Diego Comic-Con, and it was the dead dog party afterwards, invitation only, at a Mexican restaurant, and it was the buffet. They had a catered buffet bar, and it was all, honest to God, I had never tasted anything like it. For one thing, it was very spicy, which I'm a Midwesterner, so that was like shocking to my system. It was excellent, but oh my God, it made me so thirsty. So I'm chugging down these margaritas right and left, which also didn't stint on the tequila.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
I don't really remember getting back to the hotel that night. I was still alive the next day though, so. But it was very, very good, but it was definitely eye-opening because there wasn't a slice of cheese in sight, nor was there any sour cream.
Yep.
It was this real spicy pork or beef and a lot of beans and stuff like that. It was very, very good.
I'll tell you.
I remember. Go ahead, Dave.
I'll tell you. I grew up around that, and yes, I'm a heathen. Sorry, Jose, but I do like cheese and sour cream on my Mexican
Me too.
food.
I like cheese on my food.
But my dad is from. He's originally from Durango, Mexico, Gomez Palacio. Born and raised there, and I had a lot of benefits growing up of being around, a lot of authentic food and I can say that some of the best tacos that I ever had were ones that were, the family members did on the big 55-gallon drum that's converted into a
water cooler or the water heater drum that got turned into grill.
Yeah, it's a grill, but it's it's just like a metal 55-gallon drum, and they're cooking carne asada and they're putting beer on the top of it, and it's burning the alcohol off, and just amazing. There's a lot of amazing stuff, and I've had a lot of things that were kind of a little bit off the wall. I have to say one thing that I did have was mashed potato tacos.
I can see it.
It was a lot better than I thought it would be. It was actually pretty good. So I've been lucky enough to taste a lot of authentic stuff, and
right.
my tias and tios. I have one that had done a food truck, so they made a lot of things, and they used to. I'm not sure if she still does, but make tamales and stuff like that as well. So big batches of tamales and stuff. So I've been lucky enough to have a lot of grown up in the environment, not just in the food, but in the sense of family. It's like, you show up in the morning, it's like you are not going anywhere until you eat, and everybody goes and brings everything out and cooks everything. And it's not like, well, let's just kind of warm something up. It's just,
nope.
It's the whole big thing. And I can say that I have thoroughly, enjoyed being a part of that. So, yeah, I know.
Wakes up to start food.
Yeah, I know I look like a widow and all that. A white boy, but
that, right? I love the fact that you said tia and tío correctly.
Yeah.
Well, super good.
Ever since growing up, I've never been my son. I've been mijo.
Yep.
And all that. So yeah, I know. Definitely has always been a good thing. So.
I was raised on a farm in Iowa, and my father's Swedish.
Yeah.
So growing up, for breakfast, we had Swedish thin pancakes, not fluffy.
Mm-hmm.
They're thin. And, I thought, well, this is, really authentic Swedish food, until I realized one day that they were just another word for French crepes. And almost every culture has them in some form or another. It's just milk, egg, flour, and a little sugar mixed together and thrown into a pan, and it's a crepe.
Mm-hmm.
But almost every culture has some form of that. To us, it was Swedish thin pancakes.
Yeah. My house growing up was culturally bipolar. English was the third language I heard. It was primarily German, Old Irish, and then French. Crepes were constant, as well as different types of ways of processing deer meat.
Meat and potatoes. We're a farm family, so we raised all of our own food. People now, it's very trendy. It's very trendy to do homesteading and be a trad wife and and do everything from scratch and make your bread from scratch and have a little homestead where hobby farms stuff like that. I mean, that was the way I was raised, not because it was trendy, because that's the way we survived. We had an acre that was a vegetable garden, another acre that was just sweet corn, and we had our own beef and pork, that we butchered our own, and my grandmother had all the eggs and the chickens and stuff like that. So that wasn't trendy. That's how we lived.
Yeah. Now you're trying to seek modernity.
Right.
Lots of meat and potatoes.
We slaughtered our first chicken with the kids a few years back when we first moved back from Pennsylvania. The first time they ever saw it. Like everything from killing it to defeathering it.
So now there's two favored ways to behead a chicken. One is on the chopping block with an axe. That's the way that we did it. And another was you take it by the neck and you whirl it around. Yeah. And that's gross.
That's what my grandma used to do.
Just behead the damn thing and then let the headless body run after the kids. That's half the fun.
Okay, so we actually cut off the bottom end of a milk carton and stuck his head through there so that it actually kept his head out and away and everything.
I'm sure our listeners are going, you guys are grossing me out. Well,
then your chickens came from somewhere.
Yeah, they got to come from somewhere.
Your boneless, skinless chickens came somewhere.
Yeah,
it comes from the grocery store. What are you talking about?
Right.
That was watching Bambi and then going out and seeing my grandfather just bleeding a stag. Thick German accent. What are you doing? Go back inside.
We'd have every once in a while we'd have a hog roast. So we'd have to slaughter the hog and bleed it out. And the chicken's neck just stretched to stretch. Well, we had a stump. We had a stump that we would drag. We specifically kept.
Yeah, we did too.
Yeah, we specifically kept this stump for killing the chickens, and we had a hatchet. We'd chop the head off, and then the body would drop down on the ground, and it would start running around. There's a reason that there's a saying, running around like a chicken with their head cut off, because they actually do. The brains are so tiny. Their brains are so tiny, it takes them a while to figure out they're dead. So
right.
They run after, and the kids run screaming. Oh my God, it's so fun.
That happened to my wife when she was little. And she didn't realize that it was going to come after her, and it came after her specifically. At least that's how she felt,
Yep. Absolutely. Those were the good old days.
Right.
Yeah. Killed your own food. Well, we didn't hunt though. We just
I was gonna say the only thing I didn't really like was hunting. I went once with my uncle, and I thought it was gonna be cool, and then he missed and got the doe through the face, and so he had to go there and handle it.
Yeah.
It's so I'm like, I don't want to come out here anymore.
Yeah. No, that's the when you think you hit the heart, but instead you just pierce the lungs, so you just have to listen to a death rattle as you get closer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wonderful subject we're talking about tonight.
We talk about everything.
No, it scarred me at first. I was, the entire Darwin side of my family was interesting, but they're barbarian, so they had that very, they picked up English very fluently, but still had kept a strong accent to it. And I have a core memory burned in of the first time having German chocolate cake, and then my grandmother was like, "Oh yeah, made with real Germans." Where's Pop Pop?
Wow. That's awesome.
I'm like 3, I don't understand.
That's like my father telling me that we had a dead man buried in front of the barn.
Yeah.
A dead man, in farming terms, is an anchor. It's a ground anchor.
Oh,
that is underneath a thin layer of dirt, and then way back when they would use it to run a rope from the hayloft down to the anchor and then out to the horses or the tractor or whatever like that, and they would haul stuff up into the hayloft by running it down through the ground anchor. Well, that ground anchor was called a dead man, and in our case, it was a disc blade with a circle of iron on top. It was buried real deep in the ground. But for so many years, I kept going, there's a dead man buried. I didn't figure out what it was until I was like a teenager, right? So I'd have my friends come over. I'm like, just to let you know, there's a dead man buried in front of the ground.
right. Don't look. Don't look.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of funny because you're talking about, you started with the chicken thing and all that. Just reminded me, I had a great grandmother from Kentucky, and there's stories of her and all that. But your transition to the dead man thing reminded me of something that just did not go very well. My great grandmother was one of the ones that she's very focused on everything, and she was so old school in her ways that when she would watch a movie with a star in it, she would be like commenting, oh, she can't be with him, she's married to this guy over here, because it's on another show and all this stuff. So she took a lot of things really literally. And one time she called to my house, and my mom's like, just tell her I dropped dead on the couch. She's tired, right? So I told my grandmother, my mom, she dropped dead on the couch. And literally, the phone went quiet. And I just hear, oh. She literally believed. And it took me like the next 20 minutes to get her out of that, because she literally believed that my mom had just dropped dead.
You were all nonchalant about it, like, "Oh yeah, mom,
Yeah, mom's dead."
No, she dropped dead on the couch, and she literally took it at that. And I had to get my mom on the phone.
Such a mean grandson.
Yeah, I guess I didn't do anything like that anymore. That's a learning lesson, but it just reminded me of my little old great grandma from Kentucky.
Yeah,
And
Casey says do a live demonstration of cleaning the chickens. Well, you got to dip them in hot water first. Then you strip off all their feathers, and you set them on a plate, put a little rubbing alcohol on top of them, and set them on fire, and it singes all the pin feathers off. That's how you do it. So there you go. Speaking of
or just go to the grocery store.
Or just go to the grocery store. That's right. My grandparents lived through the Depression. They were Depression babies or adults, whatever. But so they ate everything, right? And they were always trying to sneak stuff to us, scribbling notes. They were always trying to sneak stuff on us to surprise us. What am I eating now? These are pickled pig's knuckles. What? Oh my God. How can you eat this crap? Well, if you're hungry enough, you'll eat anything.
Yep.
What's this slimy stuff? Okra. Oh, God, no. Not okra.
Good.
Well, my great grandmother also was a child of the Depression. So, she would like walk to the bank to deposit a nickel.
Oh boy, yeah.
Just that type of thing. But when my parents picked her up, and they picked her up in Kentucky and drove her out to California, where she lived the rest of her life out. She had chicken, and she would just take the chicken and package it up and put it in her pocket, and pretty much most of the drive through would be her just picking off those pieces of chicken from her pocket.
Okay. Given the conversation we've just been having, I really thought for a minute that she put a whole chicken in her pocket.
No.
How are we going to pick at the chicken? It's going to bite back.
No. This was just cooked chicken that she just put in her pocket and ate pretty much all the way from Kentucky to California.
I've
Yeah,
I've
Go ahead.
had bear. I've had deer. I've had alligator, rattlesnake, goose, smoked goose, really good. Pheasant.
I've had pheasant.
That's what I had most recently. My son-in-law had a bunch of them and gave us some pheasant meat. But you got to check it first because it's got buckshot in it. So
When I worked in finance before I moved into marketing, one of the accounts I handled, the guy just walked in one day. He handed me a giant tinfoil thing. He said, "That's bear burger if you want it. The thing is 50 pounds more than I expected."
a what burger?
Bear burger.
A bear burger.
Burger.
Now, people like bison. I actually have never had bison,
Yeah.
but
I think I've had it once.
I've had smoked bear meat, which wasn't bad.
Yeah.
It's smoke it right, and it's okay.
Mhm.
I am going to cut out, guys.
That's fair. We're at 126 now. So that is our normal length, just about. We are doing one last check on the campaign. You still have that one pre-order. So, again, this is going until
Right.
August 7th. So, if you want to go ahead and get your pre-orders in, you have until then to do so. And we also have a bunch of original art for sale with that as well. Some amazing pieces. The cover by Kevin West, which is absolutely phenomenal. So, go ahead and do that. In the meantime, Barb, where can people follow you?
They can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, LinkedIn. I have a link. I have a link tree.
Okay.
Linktree.
Link, yeah, on all of my social media accounts that you can follow to a whole list of links on my link tree to take you to all my socials. And I am the only Barbara Kaalberg on the internet. If you do run across one other that possibly, that's my sister-in-law. She's really not on much, so I'm not hard to find.
There you go. And make sure to check out Barb tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time for the round robin.
8 p.m. Eastern. Yep, it'll
Yeah.
be fun.
That'll be
Tune
fun.
in.
Yes.
Drop by.
And
The more
check out
people, the more fun it is.
exactly. And check out some of our Sunday 8 p.m. Eastern for whatever they're doing. We'll be back same time, same channel next week, where we'll be talking about how you can go about making a war comic. So, talking about the literary and artistic considerations you have to make when dealing with the subject matter of war. So we hope
That'd
you
be
have.
cool. As
Yeah.
a military mom, I find that interesting.
Thanks for jumping on, Barb, and wish
Yeah, Barb.
the best of success with your.
It should take off
comic.
tomorrow. When
Yeah, it's a little odd hours.
it's
harder
a little late
in
at
the
night
evening.
for most
Yep.
people.
Yes.
But you've got your hand in so many different aspects of it. It's definitely a your creation. So you have some great people working with you. But wish you the best and direct everybody to go over there and check it out. Pick up some good stuff.
Thank you for having me, and everybody, make mine Silverline.
Yes. Make mine.
Make
Silverline.
mine Silverline.
Hey, I'm G-Rod. Make mine Silverline. You heard me.